Hey everyone, Craig here with another Unreal Engine tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you how I at least handle swapping weapons within the world. So there's a few things I had to do to set up first. There's a bunch of tutorials on these already, but I'm just going to quickly walk through them. So the first thing I did was I created an invisible material, which has its blend mode set to translucent, and all I did was create a value here and have it set to 0, and just plug that into opacity. And then from there, I went in here and applied it to element 1 on the template. This essentially hides the weapon that comes with the default template. And so the next thing I did was I went into the skeleton and I added a custom socket. I just called it custom weapon, and I had to rotate it a bit and move it into place. You can see I'm using this little test asset right here to kind of show where it is. Again, this tutorial has been done to death. I believe you can check out Tesla Dev's channel on how to properly set this up. And then the next thing I did was I created a few base weapons. So here's the base weapon class. All I did was add a skeletal mesh to it and set up the collision. The way I set up collision, I just set the trace responses to block and object responses. It all depends on, what I need to do. I block world static and world dynamic objects, overlap the pawn physics bodies. I block vehicle overlap, destructible. I block in the projectile that comes with this this template. I overlap, and so I set up two weapons for us to work with. There's the rifle and the shotgun. As you can see, I've already put them in the world. You can enable physics on these, and they'll fall to the ground. I'm not going to be covering that in this tutorial. It's fairly easy to handle. All you need to do when picking up the weapon is just make sure the physics are stable so it doesn't fall out of your hand. So let's get into how to swap weapons. So we have this slot on the character called custom weapon. So we need to add a gun into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our first person character blueprint, and we're just going to create a new event. We're going to set this to the E button. If I can find it. This isn't really the most intuitive thing for finding keys. There we go. And E. Okay, so we're going to bind this to the E key. So off the E key, what we need to do is we need to do a line trace by channel. So I'm just going to do line trace by channel, and to get the starting endpoints, start and endpoints, we're going to get the player camera manager. So we're basing this all off from where the player is looking from. That way, we don't have to have any weird looking or have it like based off, the center of the character. It's all based on where we're looking at. So we're going to get the actor location. And we're going to plug this into the start point. To get the endpoint, we're going to get the actor forward vector, so the way we're looking. And we're going to multiply this by a float, just so we can give it some length. I'm going to do 500, give this guy some reach. And then all we need to do from there is add this to our actor location. And that will be the endpoint. What I also like to do, just for when I'm testing, is have the draw debug type set to for duration, just so I can see, where it's going, where it's hit. And so next thing we need to do is we want to check if this was a valid hit on the line trace. So let's just check if we hit anything by doing a branch. I love how that automatically just connects it. And we're going to take our hit, and we're just going to break that out. So first what we want to do is we want to check the other actor and see if we hit a weapon. So we're going to cast to base or no, not base. We're going to cast this to weapon. And since weapon is the base type for both weapon rifle and weapon shotgun, it should match those. So what we're going to do next is we're going to set up a function. And we're going to call this drop current weapon. And what we'll do is we're going to detach. Actually, first what we need to do to get a reference to the weapon. So we need to create a new variable. We're going to call this weapon. And we're just going to set this to the weapon type. We'll take weapon, get that, and we will just detach actor from actor. And set weapon to nothing. So then we have to go back to our event graph. So after we get the weapon, we need to drop our current weapon. Or actually, after we've checked that we hit a weapon. So we're going to drop our current weapon. So why is that there? Let's drag this out. And so from there, all we're going to do is take this, attach actor to actor. And with this, we're going to get our mesh first person, because that's where our socket is. Actually, we don't want to attach actor to actor. I'm sorry. We want it to attach actor. I have to do it on this one. Attach actor to component. So we're working with the mesh 1p component. And so we named in their skeleton the socket on it custom weapon. So we're going to go back here and in socket name, it's going to set custom weapon. And we're going to snap to target. After that, all we're going to do is we're going to set weapon. And voila. So now if we go back to our map, we can see we just picked up the shotgun. And we swapped between that to the rifle when we pick it up again. Now obviously, if you enable physics, these will just fall to the ground. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial, and we will see you next time.